Hey guys, welcome back to the blockbuster event of quarantine life, the faces you have missed so dearly. We got with us the original cast of IBU Sports. I'm your host, Sean.
My name is Blake.
I'm TD. That's Trevor Duffus.
You may or may not be able to find our socials below our faces. Our graphics team is currently working out the kinks. And Alright, so we're going to get right into it. The first thing I wanted to bring up today was, what do you guys think with this whole coronavirus thing? What do you think is going to happen with the league? Are they going to come back right away, or are they going to go straight into playoffs? What do you think is going to happen? And also, what do you guys want to happen? Obviously, there's going to be a difference between what you want and what they're going to actually do. So I wanted to hear you guys' opinions.
I guess I'll start. What I think is going to happen with the league. So with the postponing, it's been around 2 weeks now since the NBA has been suspended indefinitely. And I'll give a little reaction to what Adrian Wojnarowski tweeted when that happened. My heart, I don't think I've ever been so heartbroken in my life when that happened. Like, my heart literally sank into the floor. I'm sure you guys felt the same when Woj tweeted that infamous tweet, the NBA has been suspended for the first time, like, in a long time. And it's been suspended. There's been lockouts, stuff like that, but, like, nothing serious like this. So with it being indefinitely, we have no serious timetable for when it's going to return. Obviously, there's rumors that the coronavirus will start slowing down once summer hits. Leaving the public to be open again, and that means public arenas being open again. So things like that. But there's still no time for when it's going to return. But if I had to guess, and I think the NBA really wants to get the season back on track and back in action, because this was a very exciting season, to say the least. We had so many teams that were in contention for the playoffs, for the finals. There was the LA versus LA matchup that so many people wanted to see. And I think the NBA is going to, push forward and try and get this season to get rolling again. And I think, if I had to guess, I think it will get rolling back in June, just so they keep it safe, so they know that no players can contract the virus again, and then it's safe for people to come to the arenas. I think they'll give it another 3 months and then assess the return of the NBA. So yeah, that's my guess on when they're going to come back.
So my question is, what do you guys think is going to actually happen? So what would you guys rather have? Would you guys rather them jump straight into playoffs, or do you want them to postpone it? Or do you want them to go back to the regular season? And then obviously that could change, which is going to go into our next topic, but changing the league permanently.
Yeah, well, you're not going to have normality, right? No matter when this thing gets back to any resemblance of the way things used to be in terms of this season, it's the damage is done, right? So I don't really think that there is any benefit to playing another 12, 20 games, 25 games, whatever it was, left that's on the schedule. I think what you do is you have teams play some exhibition games, because these guys are not going to be in playing shape, right?
Right.
There's nothing you can do, especially when it comes to like the NBA or the NFL or baseball, whatever, any professional sport, the Olympics. Nothing simulates when you're in competition, right? So you need to give these guys, to be fair, you need to give them some exhibition games. I don't think those games should count. I don't think that if you are the Milwaukee Bucks and you had a historic season up to when this coronavirus thing happened, that all of a sudden, maybe you're not playing as good as you were because guys are out of shape. And then you have the Lakers, they were sort of approaching their record. And then if the Lakers end up getting home court, I mean, that's sort of that could be looked at with an asterisk.
Yeah,
so
see,
I would
what's
say
interesting is we're in uncharted waters. Like, there's nothing,
Right.
there's nothing you can do about it. But see, when you think about it, it is unfair to other teams. So there is teams like the Kings and the Grizzlies and the Blazers and the Pelicans, or not the Pelicans that are racing for an 8 seed, you know? Like, that's unfair to them. Obviously, like I said, there is nothing you can do about what's going on right now. Like, that's a world problem. Like, that has nothing to do with the NBA. But what's your take on that?
You know, I agree with Blake's point. The exhibition game I actually haven't heard before. That's an interesting point, and that would be fun to watch, and they should be televised if they actually do that, because they,
They'll have to. They'll have to make the money back.
like, yeah, they have to make their money somehow, and the fans are starving. They want to see basketball, so they would have to televise those games. But I think they should jump right into playoffs, with no delay. I think, in my opinion, the playoffs right now, especially in the West, I think they're concrete and already set. I think the Grizzlies, like the teams that are hovering, trying to get into the 8th seed right now, it's the Grizzlies, Pelicans, like you said, Sean. Grizzlies, Pelicans, and then Trailblazers. I think the Grizzlies deserve that spot more than the Pelicans and the Trailblazers. John Morant's on another level. He is, in my opinion, the rookie of the year. That can be debated later, but I think the Grizzlies deserve to be in the 8th spot. They've been one of the more surprising teams to me personally this year, with their group of young guys, and be able to get the 8th seed in the Western Conference. Not an easy task, but I think they deserve credit, and I think that once this NBA season starts, I think it should just go right into playoffs and not even let teams try and contend for the 7th or 8th seed. And you think the 8th seeds are going to make a difference, in the playoffs? When you look at both conferences, are the 7th and 8th seeds really going to upset Hughes? I'm just to be honest, I don't think so. So that's my take on it.
TD, you bring up some interesting points, but at the end of the day, and yes, as of the regular season that we know of how it was going, the Grizzlies were by far a better team than the Pelicans. But at the end of the day, the reality of the situation is the Pelicans were not mathematically eliminated yet, and neither were the Trailblazers from the playoffs in the West. So to me, what you do is you have some sort of whether it's single game or maybe 2 or 3 games, best of 2 or 3, a little elimination tournament, right? So what you do is you have the teams that are at the top half of the playoffs, and you have them. Any team that clinched a playoff spot, you have them play some exhibition games. Any team that had not clinched a playoff spot that was not yet mathematically eliminated, you put those teams, the West and the East, in an elimination tournament, and then you go from there. And I don't know how many games you make those series and whatever, but at the end of the day, there's not a solution to this where it's going to be fair, right? Because if you jump straight to the playoffs right now, then the Pelicans are like, what the heck, right? But if you have an elimination tournament and the Grizzlies lose and they get out of the playoffs, their excuse is going to be, oh, well, we didn't play for however many months. So it's a no-win situation.
Yeah, there's no way that it ends pretty, because there's no way around it. Some teams are going to end up unsatisfied. There's nothing you can do about it. But going off of all of that, I'm going to kind of give my take in the question, but I want to know your guys' thoughts on permanently changing the NBA schedule is what Adam Silver was looking at. And a little bit of my take, obviously, the 4 major sports go on at different times. A couple of them interlock. But what I want to know is, what do you guys think if they do end up permanently changing the schedule? So if that was to happen, basically, what would happen would be right when they are authorized to continue the season, is they continue it from the mark that they started at. So on March 11th, whatever games were supposed to be played, after that, that's what they would do. So I thought about it, and what's kind of interesting is basketball is kind of a lucky sport, especially for all the NBA players that have families and kids, because they're off when their families and kids are on summer break. So I kind of thought that was interesting. So that would kind of be a downfall for the actual players, to be if that was to happen. Because then now, if it gets pushed back, and now all of a sudden, instead of the season starting in October, it would start in November, December. So obviously, they would be still in season during the summer when their kids are off. So I want to know what you guys thought about that. So going off of that more, the only advantage for basketball fans like us would be that there would be basketball during the summer, which there normally isn't. Um, but that's the only like good takeaway you could think about this. But I just want to know your guys' thoughts.
Yeah. Let me. I think of one major point that I just thought of off the top of my head. That would be basically eliminated, but I don't know about eliminated, but it would kind of change the concept. So summer league, no more summer league.
They would. What would it be? Winter league? Like
Winter league, yeah, exactly. Or like fall league, like they play in like November or something. But I remember I've been to 2 summer leagues in Vegas, and it was just like it was an incredible experience watching all the young guys play. And I feel like I don't know, it wouldn't have as much like anticipation and excitement as if they like pushed it to like fall. I don't know. That's just like my feeling on it. It's no longer in the summer, in the off season. It would be like, oh, everyone's in school.
yeah,
Everyone's
there would be no fans.
the fans will be working. The kids will be in school, and I see a lot of kids, like people our age, even younger kids are there, and they can't go. I mean, if they moved it to like a date where there's a lot of like breaks, like Thanksgiving break in November, then yeah, they could try that. But I just don't think it would be as exciting. My other point was that the conflict in schedule with other major sports in America. So basketball and the NFL overlap each other from the months of October, November, and December. Because football goes and January, because football goes playoffs in January. So those 3 months would just be, it would only, if the NBA started in December, right, you'd only have 1 month where 2 of the major sports in America would be played at once, right? So that would kind of suck, because I would always look forward to those 3 months of like basketball and football. And both
And obviously, everyone's gonna have a different opinion on that, though, because some people would be like they would want some football here and then later the basketball, right?
Because like takes the emphasis away from like the season, and like, you know, it takes away from the fans enjoying one sport over the other, right? But that would be changed drastically. The NBA season started in December. And the last point, Sean, that you pointed out about players off season, right? And like it would be not in summer anymore. It would go into fall, and they'd have those 2 months, and it would conflict with their families. And I guess I'll put it from the perspective of one player who's a family man, who loves tacos, King, LeBron. I know he would be pissed off if he had to start his off season in fall when Bronny's at school, when Bryce is in school, and his little daughter's in school, and he won't get to see them as much as he would in the summer.
Sure.
I think the players would, especially family-oriented players, would definitely speak up, and they I don't think they would like this change. So yeah, that's my 3 points on that. Yeah, like, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, from you in a while.
Well, so you bring up some good points, TD. At the end of the day, as with the last topic that we went over, this is a no-win situation. And if you don't start next season in December, you know, you're looking at a situation where you're going to have guys that have 2 month off season, you know, like 1 month off seasons, which that is not going to work, right? So in my eyes, you don't permanently change the schedule. What you do is you treat and as unfair as this is, it's the reality of the situation we're in. If this does extend, and let's say that the COVID-19 issue progresses, continues to progress and the NBA doesn't get back till June, we don't have a finals until August. I think what you do is you start next season in December, only next season, right? And you treat it like a lockout year. And everybody's under that assumption. It's a shortened regular season. Next season has to suffer as a result of this season. Because you bring up good points, Trevor. You know, you can't it would be economically and for all the other reasons that you brought up, it doesn't really put players or teams in a good spot to all of a sudden, because of 1 year, change the whole logistics of how the NBA is run. So I don't think that permanently changing it is the solution. I think what you do is, again, you treat next season as a lockout and you go from there.
Interesting. Last little
TD,
topic.
I got it. Cheers before you continue, TD. The North Face. That's a great brand. This is what we call branded content right here. Branded content.
You sponsored? Oh, everyone's got the shirt. Oh, it's blurred. No.
Oh, it's blurred.
I got the juice. It's blurred. It says I got the juice.
Oh wait, hold on. I got the juice. Chance the Rapper. Can't see that.
Yeah. He's smoking some good shit. We're gonna have to bleep that out.
Last little topic. Going off of all of this, with all the postponing with the NBA season, I'm gonna bring up a little topic about the payment for the NBA. So basically, about a week ago, what happened was Joshua Harris, the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers.
Wait, Harris, can I stop you right there?
Yeah, what?
Are you related to Joshua Harris? Yes,
Is he your cousin?
That I know of, I am not. But we can pretend that I am, if you would like to.
Okay.
I don't care at all. I was just genuinely curious. That's it. I literally
I know of.
I could not care less. Continue.
For the sake of this argument, I'm gonna say I'm not, because it's not good. So, all right.
Don't bring your name down, Sean. Don't bring your rep down. The Harris name.
All right. So going off of all of that, talking about the topic of the NBA and the quarantine and everything to do with the COVID-19 coronavirus. Joshua Harris, the owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, he recently released a statement about a couple days ago to a week ago, saying that Sixers employees that are making over $50,000 for their average salary are going to have to take a 20% pay cut. So immediately, trending on Twitter was his name. No one knew why until they clicked on it. And the first thing that you would see is everyone's talking about his net worth. His net worth is just a shade under $4 billion. So this man is worried about the little tiny employees of his company making over $50,000. I understand if you're worried about the NBA players who are making millions of dollars. I get it. If you got Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid on supermax contracts, I get it if you're worried about paying them money for not playing games. But to take away the employees that are making only over $50,000, just a little over minimum wage, I think that is wrong. So immediately after he was trending on Twitter, they came out with a statement saying, "I apologize," and he was saying how he talked to the players and staff and everyone a part of the organization. He was like, "I understand, and I'm going to get rid of that rule that I made." And he ended up paying them. He's going to pay them the full amount, and that's because, along with Joel Embiid, who I believe gave $500,000 to the organization to help fund that. But I just wanted to see if you guys had any funny takes about this situation.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a classic case of the top 1% trying to keep their money as close to them as possible and not share the wealth. You know, sometimes owners get a bad rap, especially in basketball, with Donald Sterling not being the best owner, James Dolan not being the best owner, and not keeping the what's the word, the not taking care of their employees well enough. You know what I mean? James Dolan's notorious for that, not taking care of his players, not paying his players. His employees are always, always seem to be angry at him. And then he had a former player almost punch him in the face, Charles Oakley, at one point. But owners do get a bad rap. They have a lot of money. They are kind of stingy with it. It makes sense. That's just what the top 1% are. But I feel like I already forgot his name. I never heard of this owner before. I really hope he's not related to you because he sounds like a jerk. Sean Harris, he sounds like a real jerk.
Harris is the definition of a real jerk. I don't know what you're talking about. Harris is anybody that knows Sean Harris knows.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm a class act.
Keep telling yourself that, Sharon.
That's a false statement. False statement. Yeah, but I think it was really funny. That's the first time I've heard that before.
Way to keep up on your news for your IBU Sports channel, Trevor.
Oh, yeah, Trevor Duff is really prepared. We can tell.
This is an awful segment.
Okay. Yeah. But I thought it's just
make sure to get rid of all of this. This is terrible.
See, this is why you need to watch this show during your quarantine, because you need you need a break from all the messed up stuff and the really bad.
I want to say one thing, a shout out. I don't really have anything more to say on this Harris guy, but I want to give a shout out to all the NBA players that donated money to the employees of their teams. Kevin Love was the first one to do it. Big shout out. Love Kevin Love. He's my guy. Whoever knows me knows that I love Kevin Love. But everyone else who donated money, Embiid, Zion, all the rest of them. Shout out to those guys. That's like a class act, and shows that they really care about their franchise and the organization. Shout out to them.
Yeah. Well, we're in a tough situation because the economy is obviously in a rough spot, and it's going to continue to be in a rough spot. And Adam Silver and all the league's execs took 20% pay cuts just yesterday, actually. And every business in the world, no matter how big they are, is going to have to start look at doing that, especially the longer this thing extends. So I disagree with the premise that that it's billionaires withholding their money. At the end, but at the end of the day, this was a PR disaster, right?
Oh yeah.
The way that the Sixers and the Devils allowed this to be disseminated, the way they allowed it to sort of turn into a trying to use a PG rated word here, a bad situation. The way that they let it turn into just an atrocity of a situation, that's bad PR more than anything, right? And with that being said, when it comes to the what and I do agree, and I think anybody would agree with both of your points that with minimum wage workers, with people that are barely getting by before something like this happens, they need all the support they can get. And as an owner of a corporation, of an organization, of a team, it doesn't send the best message to be taking money away from them, right? If anything, do what the NBA is doing. You didn't hear the NBA, cutting low-level employee salaries. The first news you heard out of the league office is Adam Silver, the commissioner, and the execs are taking pay cuts, right? So, again, PR, like the way that you go about it, the owner, let's look at the $4 billion guy, to take a pay cut first before we. But I do think that at the same time, you need to be realistic about the situation in terms of knowing that the economy is in a bad spot. So
see what Trevor was saying, like talking about class act. what Adam Silver did, that's literally the definition of a class act.
He's such a leader.
Yeah. Since
right.
he's taken over, he's dealt with so much, and he's done it in such a positive way. Like, he's had to deal with so many bad things. Even just you were talking about James Dolan and Donald Sterling. Like, those are just messes waiting to happen, and he has done his best to clean them up. So, transitioning to something that I'm hoping is going to be a good debate. I want to talk about Kyrie Irving. It was just his birthday a couple of days ago. And, oh shit. All right. Transitioning to opening. Fuck. All right, let's try that again.
Outtakes, blooper reel.
This
This is also the content that people know. I gotta switch my. Hang on, I gotta switch my thing.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. All right, transitioning to something that I'm hoping is going to be a good debate. It was Kyrie's birthday just a couple of days ago, and it got me thinking. And since there's no games on, NBA TV just released the 2016 Finals, Game 7, where obviously the Cavs won the title, and Kyrie Irving hit possibly the most clutch shot in NBA Finals history. Besides, obviously, you can throw some buzzer beaters in there. But for a Game 7, that was one of the most clutch shots of all time. And it got me thinking. I wanted to know where you guys think he is on like the all-time list looking at point guards, and whether you think if he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame if his career ended today.
Kyrie Irving has the best handle of all time.
Non-debatable.
Non-debatable. I'm sorry, Penny Hardaway. I'm sorry, Allen Iverson. Kyrie Irving, I agree with Richard Jefferson on this. He's got the sickest, tightest handle in the history of the league.
Couldn't agree.
He was an instrumental part in the Cavs winning that championship. He was not the reason they won the championship, obviously. He hit arguably the biggest shot in the history of the finals, or one of the. I think it's safe to say one of the biggest shots in the history of the finals of basketball. Right. With that being said,
Game 7 situation.
Right. With that being said, if you look at what has happened at the, he since he left LeBron James, right? Whined and screamed and cried in private about wanting to leave LeBron James, and he gets out of Cleveland, gets to Boston, train wreck. Gets to Brooklyn, so far, train wreck. When you look at it from that perspective, I don't know that he is a surefire Hall of Famer yet. With that being said, I'm a firm believer that once Kevin Durant gets back, they are going to be a powerhouse in the Eastern Conference, and that they will be in the Eastern Conference Finals next season. Because I also think they're going to make some additions to that team in the summer from what they got now. So if his career ended today, he's not a Hall of Famer, but I think he's on his way to becoming one. TD, what do you think?
All right, just curious, just to put it out there, throughout his career, so he's in his 9th NBA season, and throughout his career, he has averages of 22 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds, just to put that in perspective.
Yeah. And you can't deny his accolades either. Rookie of the Year, 2011, 7-time All-Star, if I'm not wrong, something like that. NBA champion, and yes, will go down as the best ball handler ever. Better than AI, better than anyone, in my opinion. Great ball handler, like Blake said. But is he a Hall of Famer? And I think this does bring into question what the Hall of Fame entails. Like, is it the best of the best? Is it game changers who have like changed the form of the NBA? May not have been the best players ever, right? But they maybe either changed the way the game was played, or they were just, significant at their time. Like the first African American player to ever play the game. Don't know his name, but I believe he's in the Hall of Fame, just because he was the first to ever do it. And it is significant. I will not diminish that. It's a significant point in NBA history. but does it deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, where it's the best players to ever play the game, ever? And like, should some players deserve to be in it and some should not? But with Kyrie Irving's case, I think they're gonna put him in the Hall of Fame. I think eventually they will. Does he deserve
Obviously,
it?
eventually, but we're talking just right now.
No,
No.
he doesn't. 28 years old, in his prime, NBA champion. You know, he's done a lot of things, great things, a lot of bad things, like Blake said. But just based off of his career stats and his accolades alone, I think he falls short. And yes, I can look at the list of the players who've made the Hall of Fame. I looked at one in particular. It's like Artis Gilmore made the list. I know he's like a good center. I know like he was on the Bulls for a bit and he was a decent all-star center. Hall of Famer? Maybe. I don't know. But and then like you look at players who climb the all-time ranks of like points, rebounds, steals, blocks. Those players make the Hall of Fame, and they're deserved, in my opinion. They're the all-time best of their stats or whatever. But Kyrie Irving, great point guard, never won an MVP either. Does that get him? Would an MVP actually? This is a good question for Blake. This is a short little question. Would an MVP for Kyrie Irving at any point in his career, maybe he wins it next year, I don't know, would that solidify him in the Hall of Fame? Like,
yes.
MVP, yeah?
Yes. Okay. Because if he were to win MVP, that would mean that his team has an exceptionally good record and that they did it with him being the leader, something he has not shown he's capable of doing.
Oh.
So if next year he teams up with Kevin Durant and he is the MVP of the league, yeah. Yes. Because they're probably if Kyrie okay, let's think about this. If Kevin Durant is the second best player on your team, you're winning a championship, right?
Oh yeah.
Like hands down. Actually, and you know what? I sort of will debate with the point I just made. So I'm going to debate with myself right here for just a sec. Like Kevin Durant will never be the second best player on a team ever. Even if Kyrie Irving won MVP of the league, Kevin Durant's the best player on that team. But again, the greater point being that it would prove that he's capable of leadership, something that he hasn't done so far.
All right. So I'm going to throw my take in there for a quick sec.
Yeah, sure.
Because I disagree with both of you in a weird way. So
weird way, okay.
So
I'm interested to hear this.
So from my perspective, so many of the people that have made it to the Hall of Fame do not deserve it. And here's why. I think that the Hall of Fame is overrated because of how many people they put into it. So my perfect example is Horace Grant. He is a Hall of Famer. He was a power forward for the Chicago Bulls, and he was with them. He won 3 championships with them as their starting power forward. All right, so he's a 3-time champion. For his career, he averaged 11 points a game and 8 rebounds. You're telling me that deserves a Hall of Fame mention? I don't even think he deserves a mention. Like, you're telling me that Kyrie Irving is not better than that man right now.
Right. But Sharis, you just answered one of TD's previous questions when he said, what is the Hall of Fame about, right? Hall of Fame's not about the stats you put up in every case. It's individualistic, right? In his case, it's about legacy. It's about impact. He was instrumental in the Bulls getting past the bad boys, the Detroit Pistons, and getting to the finals in the first place with a lot of those teams. So
as the 4th or 5th best player on the team,
he wasn't the 4th best player. He was the 3rd best player.
All right.
It's the same sort of argument as Draymond Green a Hall of Famer. Yes.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that will be for a different time.
It's the same sort of thing. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he's a Hall of Famer.
See,
look at his stats,
the only thing that's on his side. The only thing that's on his side is that he does have 3 championships.
and a defensive player of the year.
But also, but it's not just looking at the stats and saying, oh, you have this many championships. Like Robert Horry has 6 championships.
7.
Right.
Seven championships, right? Okay.
Right.
Okay. He had a lot of big shots. But Draymond Green in the 3 championships he's won has been so instrumental in those titles. And you saw when he got suspended, what happened? They lost.
Yeah.
So that tells you it's more than points or stats. It's about impact. It's about legacy.
That's true.
Yeah. And should it be about like impact and legacy?
See, with that, my problem is,
All right.
I didn't hear anything. All right, my problem with that is you can't go back. You can't take people out of the Hall of Fame. You know.
You could.
So you can't. You can change the rules. You can.
I wish you could.
He's like, pick Horace Grant up and get him out of here, man. Take his just erase the speech.
Get his golf dude out of here.
You.
Wait, TD,
you can't. Of course we're gonna wish that you can.
Hey, wait, but TD, during your heyday, didn't you used to wear goggles out on the floor?
I did. Yeah, I did. Should I be in the Hall of Fame? No.
Yeah, but isn't that part of why you were one of the greatest players in the history of Tribeco Hills basketball? Isn't that why your jersey is retired in Sean Solin's classroom?
I see. You know, that's funny. I didn't meet Sean Solins until I didn't have the goggles on. So he didn't even know goggles, Trevor.
That is true.
I did wear them, though, at one point in time. I was very bad, though, in basketball. And that, I don't know, that tells you a lot. But
CD, I would pay to see the highlight tape of you hooping in some goggles.
You pay? How much?
I would. I take back what I said.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to our return episode of IBU Sports with the original cast. We need a couple of things from you guys to keep this channel alive. If you want to keep the channel alive, we need you guys to subscribe to the channel. We need you guys to follow at IBU Sports on Instagram.
Sure. Also, leave a comment on our YouTube channel. Comments will always help. Comment what specific topics you want us to talk about. Comment maybe special guest stars in the future, maybe. But yeah, leave comments. We want to know what you guys have to say, and we want to know what you guys want us to do. You know, it will just make it more fun, more entertaining for you guys. We're all about the people, right?
Yeah.
TD, here's the thing. We give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And if what you need is some good laughs, is something to take your mind off of the quarantine, this is a place for you. Just tune in, listen to the boys. You can come in and talk with the boys if you want. We got an open invitation. You just let us know. But we need the views, man. We need the interaction. And if you guys interact with us, we're going to keep bringing you episodes. And if not, then you got to find something else to do in the quarantine. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
And with that, we want to thank you guys for listening. We're out.
Peace.
Deuces.